Okay, we now welcome on a very, very special guest. It is head coach of the Miami Dolphins, Mike McDaniel. Coach, it has been a long time coming to have you on the show. So much so, I'm going to ask you kind of an awkward first question.
Let's get awkward, bro.
Okay. Did you see when PFT and I texted you, and did you just ignore it? Because we did text you at the Combine, so you ignored it. Yeah.
Yeah, we can pull up the thread real quick. Because before we started recording here, you just said that we've been ducking you.
Mm-hmm.
We were under the impression that you've been ducking us.
I mean, there's various definitions of ducking.
Yeah.
Who's to say who's the duck?
Yeah. We got your number from Kevin Stefanski, who we had on the show, and we shot you a text at the Combine. We said, Coach, we'd love to have you on. We'll do it anytime, anywhere. You tell us. Crickets. We're like, does he hate us?
No, it's just plain hard to get. Look at what's happening right now.
Yes,
okay?
It's true.
And this is consensual.
Yes.
Okay, so, I mean, it could be true that you texted me. It could not be true. I lead the league in terrible phone, I don't know, behavior.
Yeah.
I try to be present wherever I'm at. There's a cost at that, and it's communicating with people that aren't around me. So I apologize if I did, but I'm not sure if it's the case.
Okay, so I've got the text thread right here. Big Cat on Wednesday, March 1st, texted you at 5:23 p.m. Hey, Coach, it's Big Cat and PFT from Part of My Take. We're in Indy for the next couple of days and would love to have you on the show if you have a free 30 minutes. We just wrapped up with Stefanski, so he can vouch that we're not bad guys, and it will be fun.
Yeah.
Hope all is well. And then I waited an appropriate amount of time, an hour and a half, and then I said, love you, Coach, -PFT commentary.
Yeah, but you're not going to read the audience. The third text, the one that was at 3:30 a.m. that said, you up?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I was getting a lot of those that night, so you might have fallen through the cracks.
Well, I just wanted to clear up that part because when you were offered, we're like, yeah, we've been trying to get him on forever, so much so that we were harassing him on text. So I'm happy that we at least have you on the show now, and maybe you'll respond to our texts now.
Well, what if I took it a step further and said, not only are the doors open for this relationship to blossom, but I'm a huge fan of everything you guys do, and I was just trying to play hard to get, hoping you guys would treat me like a hot girl.
Yeah, we got you.
It worked. You look great today, by the way. Your eyes.
We chased you.
That fern brings out the eyes.
You shouldn't compliment me, but continue to.
Yeah. All right. Well, it is great that you're on. We have wanted to have you on since you got hired. Actually, probably before that, when you were with the Niners, you were going viral. It felt like every week. I'll start
you guys
there.
Didn't know who I was.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I mean,
Kittle told us. Kittle was like, this guy, Mike, the way he schemes up a run game. Whew. Let's start there, though, because we have always said that when the 49ers and now the Dolphins, when they run the football, there's something about it that is just so beautiful to watch. At what point in your life did you fall in love with the run game? I would assume, you grew up watching Mike Shanahan's offense. What point in your life were you like, the run game is it? I love this.
Well, I did have a special attachment to the run game because of the Bronco fandom, as it were, specifically 95, when Mike Shanahan first got there and was with Terrell Davis. And they there had been no championship to the city of Denver. And then on the heels of a legitimate run game, they got 2 Super Bowls out of it. So there's always the seed plants. But from a career perspective, it kind of happened out of survival. So I'm coming from the UFL, going to Washington, working with Kyle Shanahan, again I'd worked with him in Houston, and I had previously trained Matt LaFleur before I went to the UFL, and he was in Washington as the quarterback coach. And right when I got there, so I knew him, but on top of that, there was Sean McVay.
Yeah, they were familiar.
And there was a lot of competing voices. You get there in mid-February, and you're in cut-ups with the whole coaching staff, and you're watching all the pass game, and it's just like, it was guru after guru just contributing to the conversation. And I was like, wow, I am not the young smart guy anymore. And then we got to the run game. So you do it in phases. You do it like you don't watch it in game order. You watch you look at all the players and all the concepts that you're using. So you're watching all the pass game first, then you go to the run game. Well, out of the whole staff, the only person that was talking and really orchestrating conversation with Kyle was Chris Furster about the run game. So then I thought to myself, I'm into having a career and eating, and living in a house. Maybe I should learn what that guy knows. And in that process there, carved out a little niche that, it grew on me. I didn't really know that it was going to be that strong, but it ended up becoming like a passion.
Yeah.
And I found value, so I was able to have a job, which is cool.
That's awesome. I mean, the fact that it was born out of survival, which you could say for the run game, you have to run the ball to survive in the NFL. So do you still have that same passion for the run game? Because like we said, like when the 49ers run the ball, there's something about it that's like it's sexier than a deep pass.
No, absolutely. Probably even more so at this point. You take one season and you try to, we're fortunate enough to work in an industry that's thriving, and there's a lot of people that care about football. And so it can be like, oh, is he a pass guy? I'm still the same exact enthusiast. One of the reasons it's so cool is because you just don't, for it to look that way, you just don't, we'll say, I don't know, poop.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 Poop it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like it takes so much deliberate work, and the reason why it looks different is because you're also coaching players to do stuff differently. So that that's why it looks, and that's hard. And there's also the element of players getting used to it, players trusting that leap of faith. It's a lot of work that you can't shortchange. I don't think there's been one. This is the seventh team that I've worked on in the NFL. So it's the sixth time that it's all been in the same offense. So it's the sixth time that we've taken an offense somewhere. From my experience, and that's generally. I don't think there's like one year that we, just ran the ball at will. It takes time. So it's something that we've put a huge emphasis on. And, I think the reason why it's so cool to you is because there's no shortcut to getting that done.
Yeah.
It just takes time and effort and commitment and conviction.
It is beautiful. I mean, some of the 7-yard runs that you've had in the last couple of years have just been the most fun plays to watch. I also love how you respect the fullback position. You've got a great fullback in Alec Ingold, one of our favorites.
Badger.
Yeah?
Yeah, he is a supremely underrated player in the National Football League that I hope gains some momentum, because he's a good player.
He's awesome. We had to have a word with him a couple of years ago because he was starting to do the thing that players do now where they jump over tacklers and they try to hurdle.
The thing, yeah.
You know that thing. And it's like, dude,
you set him down?
Yeah, you're a fullback, lower your shoulder. You don't go over people, you go through people. And he seems to have really turned the corner after that tough love.
How hyped do you get every time he runs somebody over?
Very hyped.
Yeah.
I nut.
I made him do that, guys.
Yeah. No, it's pretty nice. But, like when you watch your run game, it almost seems like you make the wide receivers, the fullbacks, and the tight ends all play like offensive linemen and block like offensive linemen.
Shout out. This seed was planted in 2005, my first year as a coaching intern in Denver. And shout out to Mike Shanahan, because he set the whole vision. And it was genius about him. So, the wide receiver position is tricky in general because you get compensated for the pass game. And typically, good football players have pride and they try to do it. But the bottom line is, it's not like, well, let's go pay this guy because he's got sick blocks.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you um, incentivize guys to participate in, something that's, less dividend paying directly as, catching a pass? And what Coach Shanahan would do was he would meet with, he would watch Thursday's practice, the team run period, um, which, everybody does around the league in some way, shape, or form, but he would watch that portion of practice as an entire offense on Friday, with the thinking that the best way to motivate receivers to take pride and detail in the run game, the best way to really emphasize that it takes all 11 players to on the field to run the ball well, is to have them all watch that together. And it's the peer pressure from the locker room, guys saying, dude, what, you're just gonna loaf and let me get tattooed by a strong safety? Like, that was his kind of way of really emphasizing and getting that done. And that, every place we've been, we've kind of taken that. And it's something that you just can't relent on. Your offensive coordinator has to be fully committed to it. The receiver coach has to be willing to drive it home. Unbeknownst to most people, Wes Welker is like a low-key run game guy and just loves receiver blocks more than anything. So all of that for it to look different, you have to approach it different, and you get what you emphasize. So not many people have described run game as beautiful, so I really appreciate that.
And
I described it.
Yeah.
And my wife looks at me like I'm a weirdo.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, we love watching that.
Yes.
I'm glad that you brought it up earlier. You mentioned that Washington Redskins team. It's not like I don't think about that every single day, about how we had you, Shanahan, LaFleur, and Sean McVay in the same room as coaches. Which one of you four was the alpha in that situation?
Well, I mean, clearly the most physically imposing.
You.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I mean, we were all, it was such a cool environment because, Kyle was, so young as a coordinator. He got started at 28. And he made sure when he got the job that it was because of his football acumen and not his last name. He was very, he was as prepared as a young coach as there ever could be. And we were all very, very ambitious. And he was eager to teach. And it was his vision, him along with his father, that was like, you know what? Who cares about the norms? Let's develop some coaches, and find some talented ones, and really not, because they got a bunch of heat from the Washington Post at the time that called us the fun bunch. We had pictures of us and just kind of, because we were very young. But he had that vision, and we were just all pumped to see how good we could get in our time together. So Kyle was definitely the alpha. And then it was just like, who can wow the boss the most with this cool idea. And it made it, you didn't really get a coast at all.
Yeah.
Because you coast for a second and you look over your shoulder and one of your peers is giving 3 great ideas to Kyle and his dad. So
yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of great minds in that room, for sure. Now, Big Cat, do you want to ask the question about
Matt
LaFleur?
I mean, we do have a hypothetical. It's not about Matt LaFleur.
I mean, sorry. The question not about Matt LaFleur.
It's just a hypothetical football question. We ask this on every football coach. All right, so you're down 8. There is 2 minutes left in the game. You have all 3 timeouts. You're on 4th and goal on the 7 or 8 yard line.
Yeah.
Do you kick a field goal or do you go for the touchdown? You're down 8.
Well, in theory,
this is hypothetical. And let's say hypothetically too, the team that you're playing against has the greatest quarterback of all time on the other sideline.
And then I guess it's the semantics. Is it a elimination game?
It's
Yeah,
an elimination
season's
game.
over.
Yeah. Yep.
Get out the golf clubs.
Hmm. I think I take a knee.
Okay. All right. Good
I don't
answer.
know.
Yeah. That would definitely screw them up.
The funny thing, I think I felt for Matt because I knew.
Wait, what?
He knew it's exactly what he was doing, and anytime you make any decision as a coach, it'd be a farce to not submit to the fact that I don't know what's going to work. If I knew that, I would do that all the time. So you have to make a calculated decision that you feel good with. I talked to Matt after the game. We talked through if there were some disparities in thought process, but he knew why he was doing it. So, it's just one of those deals that if you're right, you're the man. And if you're wrong, yeah.
If you're wrong, it gets brought up on Pardon My Take for the rest of history.
For the rest of history.
That's
and
pretty
what's
much
ironic is you continually do that, and because Matt LaFleur is one of the greatest guys I know.
Facts.
All he does is needle me and text me about how I need to come on your guys' show.
Yeah. So, we love Matt LaFleur. Question off that.
What a good-looking guy, right?
He is.
The best-looking guy. The best-looking guy. He's the best-looking, and I'll say this because I know Sean McVay would get upset, but he's of the fun bunch of that group. He's by far the best-looking guy. Not even close.
Well, you haven't seen me with my shirt off.
That's true, but I'm still taking Matt LaFleur.
I didn't say it would change the ranking.
Yeah.
I was just
true. All right. So based off that, real football question off that. When it comes to those type of decisions on the sidelines, how many guys are in your ear? What's the process that goes through those split-second decisions of go for it, don't? I know that you have a chart, but is it like you're going with the chart, or is there some gut involved as well?
No, there's a lot of that. For me, I think it's so important to be super prepared for any game, because what I don't want to happen is ever to look in hindsight at a decision and be like, well, that was influenced by emotion. So what I'm as prepared as I can possibly be for the opponent, and then understand that my best will either be good enough or it won't in terms of my contribution, but the team, the players on the field are going to determine the outcome. So that being said, that preparation also goes to the people that you lean on, in your analytics department for all the game type scenarios. That's something that every Thursday during the week for like the last hour and a half of my workday, I meet with those guys, and basically every headset's different. The procedure that kind of happens on ours in particular is I'm just very I make sure that I don't negatively reinforce information on game day. So I let people know that I'm very open to taking any information that's legitimate. Having said that, they kind of get a rhythm of like, there's a certain tempo when you know exactly where you're going with certain things, that you'll be talking on the headset, and like coaches won't jump in with play suggestions or anything. They just let you roll. Same thing goes with the analytics advisors, is they're talking to me when, as we've mapped out potential scenarios, when it's appropriate to get me the information.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I look at that as all tools. I think the whole point of having a head coach is so that someone can make a decision. And I look at it as my job to take all the information from all the talented people that I work with and make a decision, and let the players let me know if that was the right or wrong decision.
That's smart. I would just be like, fuck you, dude. Why'd you tell me that? It didn't work. Over.
And like, it's not like I just overnight. This is something that I've been thinking about, if I were to be in the chair making the decisions, I've been thinking about throughout my career. And it's something that you have to be very mindful of, because you have to understand that no one wants to talk out loud and hurt the team's chances of winning a football game on game day. everyone, they're all have the same thing at stake in terms of, you win more football games than you lose, you're employed. So let's win the game. So no one wants to do that. And, I find that if you can just say nothing and move on, guys get pretty embarrassed, but they still try to come to the plate.
Yeah.
And you just don't want to engender a situation where it's like, yeah, I wanted to say something, but I didn't know if you'd yell at me. Like, so even when I'm frustrated, I try to do my best to understand the circumstances that they're operating in.
That's a very smart answer. I would coach pretty much based on vibes entirely.
Just vibe it, bro.
Yeah, just vibe it. Just go out there. Like if it's like late November, it's 23 degrees in Buffalo, and you're wearing the teal uniforms, I'd be like, we're looking kind of candy ass today. We're not going to be able to run the ball. We might as well just try a pass on fourth down. Do you ever look at the teal uniforms in cold weather and be like, you know what? This isn't running the football uniforms.
I mean, it's generally how I base all my decisions on inconsequential factors. I think, man, you've really got my brain turning.
Yeah. No, they're candy ass.
They're a little candy ass.
You guys can't win in the cold.
I think that they're great for September and October when it's white out or when it's hot outside. But then once it gets, the weather starts turning, you get sleet, freezing rain. Kind of candy ass to be wearing those teals.
And Dolphins players look colder in those uniforms.
See, but I think I found the root of the problem.
Okay.
You guys who's your uniform distributor? I don't know who it is.
Okay.
But
Roback.
Our actual uniforms are aqua color, not teal.
Ah.
So you've probably been seeing teal and been like, those are candy. Really, aqua strikes fear in the heart of every man. I mean, that's just now we're just talking facts.
Yeah,
okay.
I see candy for every color, but yeah, sure.
That's a valid point, though.
No, you know what's cool about when I got the job, this is like I'd been in 6 divisions. I'd never been to the AFC East. I didn't really know that much about the Dolphins relative to, the way I know the rest of the league. I kind of thought I assumed that the fan base had to be kind of like, I don't know, maybe like a Southern California or something where, there's a lot of things to do. So, they're distracted and maybe they'll be around for when you're winning. That was not the case. This fan base was just like a sleeping giant that, haven't won a playoff game in now 24 years. But it's really the fan base and kind of like the appreciation of history where, I'm kind of digging the aqua now.
Yeah.
Where before I was like, but I kind of, there's so much history tied to it. Those 70s teams were impactful and kind of changed the whole subculture of Florida, South Florida sports. This is unbeknownst to me. How I've learned so much in 1 year, guys.
Yeah.
But so, I think the fan base and the players, they're into it. So judge it until we do something about it. And maybe we'll get you an aqua jersey.
They do. The players look faster in the aqua. That's for sure. Like,
that
do
is
you ever just go out on the practice field and you're like, hey, Tyreek, can you just run some routes just so I can watch how fast you are?
Yeah, I mean, when you got it, why not? He's in the building and he's really good at running routes very fast, and it's really fun to watch.
Yeah.
However, I try not to make him do unnecessary stuff. I want to keep fast, but I have to tell you, in person, aqua, white, green, red, fuchsia, dude looks fast in any color.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I believe that. So based on the wide receivers, I had a question about Andrew Hawkins had a quote talking about you as a coach and how when you came in, he was essentially like, he told us, throw out everything you know. I'm going to teach you something different. How does that go when you have those first meetings? Has it been like hard in your career to get guys to buy in right away, knowing like, hey, I'm going to do something totally different. Like, you just have to trust me, because I'm always fascinated with that with coaches, where if you don't have the Super Bowl rings like Belichick, to get guys to buy into a different system than what they know has to be a little bit daunting for like day one.
Yeah, it's you hit the nail on the head. That's a problem that I recognized literally my first full-time paying job in the NFL. It was 2006, and I was a offensive assistant, and Andre Johnson was a 25-year-old ascending superstar, and yet you want to add value, but how is that guy going to listen to this guy?
Right.
That's something that, and so I had to figure it out, and it was pretty quick that I realized, oh wow, on the professional level, like, these guys want to make the most money they can. They want to be the best they can. There's a lot of pressure on them, and basically anybody that can help them do that, they'll listen to. So the objective was not to, like, it's one of my favorite parts of this job, is I fully know that my job is to exceed the eye test expectations when I first meet people. Like, I have to earn their listening. And when you really think about it, should you desire to be entitled to people just assuming you know what you're talking about? It's not the worst thing in the world to have to earn their listening and earn their trust. So to do that, it takes an annoying amount of preparation for those first meetings specifically.
Yeah.
Because you have to forecast, okay, I'm going to say this. Now, what will be the natural inclination of the listener, of the player? What are their experiences? What's going to be the resistance? How do I get in front of the rebuttal that they may voice, they may not, but how do I get in front of that? And basically tell a story of whatever I'm pitching to them and make sure that it's very tight. Just because you're exactly right. The eye test, on top of the fact that I'm approaching it differently, it's not going to be generally different makes people uncomfortable. And so people want to be comfortable, and you just really relying on that known fact that, hey, all players, if you can be of resource to them, don't care what it looks like. Relying on that, allows you to go bold that way.
Yeah.
I've got an alternate method that maybe you could try, is just bring back the 2 earring look that you had. You remember that? There's that screenshot of you on, I think it's Channel 9 News in Denver. It says Michael McDaniel, Broncos ball boy. You've got the 2 big hoop earrings. You wear those into a meeting, and you get instant respect because you're like, this guy's going to steal my girl.
Right. Or, like, does he have any financial advice? He looks responsible. Multitude of things that are going through their heads. So many adults tell you, oh, you're going to regret that. And you're like, at that age, you're like, huh. And then at some point that falls out of fashion. Yes, you're kind of laughing at yourself.
I think it's a good look. I think you bring it back. Maybe if you win a Super Bowl. You can get away with anything if you win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I could. You think I could wear clogs on the sidelines?
Yes, yeah, definitely. If you win a Super Bowl,
that's the dream.
Yeah, you go barefoot on the sideline.
You definitely can.
One with the earth. I like that.
Yeah, I got a couple Tua questions. The first is, we're part of Tua-non.
Tua of them?
Yeah, we have Tua questions. We're part of Tua-non. We're believers. Why is it, do you think, that Tua gets criticized more than like the average quarterback? It's kind of a bizarre situation. Is there anything that you can put your finger on? It's like guys just don't, for some reason, like the prognosticators and the analysts don't see what I'm seeing. Like it is a little, he gets talked about differently and more than most quarterbacks.
No, there's a couple things going on. I think, because I've wondered the same thing in terms of the polarization of people. Like, a lot of people have strong opinions either way. I think, the starting point is he is different. Different is kind of makes people uncomfortable. I'm not sure if you guys noticed, he throws with his left hand, not his right.
Yes.
Which is crazy because he's right-handed, but he just learned how to throw left on instruction by his father. So that's a little caveat. That's one. I think, throughout the history of time, people have shunned others when they can't pronounce their last names, and there's a lot of letters.
That's true.
A lot of vowels.
That's true. I hate Coach K.
But to be, see,
yeah,
I knew it was there.
Yeah.
So many consonants. I mean, geez, dude,
it's obnoxious.
Right. What are you trying to prove? But also, like, I think anytime there's also a lot of conviction, and when there's a lot of conviction with people and they're over the top about it, people tend to speak up more in the negative. And then once you dig your heels in, now all of a sudden, 3 years down the road, you have what are those dolls, that voodoo dolls?
Yeah.
You're voodoo dolling Tua because he's the bane of your existence. Why? Because you said you didn't like him one time and are tripling down. So who knows? All I know is, I think I feel great about the guy.
Yeah.
Love the guy. I don't say I'm with you guys.
Yeah, you've done a very good job of like supporting him, and I've noticed that because there's sometimes coaches will just be like, oh, open a competition. And then my other question was the famous story about after one of his concussions on the plane, you guys talked, and then he pulled up MacGruber and you laughed. Now, did you laugh because he was watching MacGruber, like the idea of it, like he thinks this is a good movie? Haha, what an idiot. Or were you actually laughing at MacGruber?
I mean, it happens to be like my favorite show of all time.
Okay.
My favorite movie of all time.
Okay.
It's
red flag.
No, I like MacGruber.
But favorite of all time?
It's an excellent film.
Of all time.
I say it in jest. I really like the movie.
Okay.
There's probably some emotional movement that some deeper, Shawshank Redemption or something would bring out, but it's up there for me because I thought it was so aggressively ahead of its time for 2010, and Will Forte makes me laugh. So he was watching the movie because I can't remember how it came up, but I put him up to watch it. And most of the time, I pitch that movie, it falls on deaf ears, no one follows up with it. And he had it loaded before that week of travel was prepared to watch it. And I was dying laughing because whatever judgment, I just didn't really realize that his sense of humor would be directly correlated with mine. We have different styles and whatever. So I got a huge kick out of him thinking it was as hilarious as I did.
Mm-hmm. So you basically waited. You were like, MacGruber's my favorite movie. I'm trying to get everyone on the Dolphins to watch it. And then you waited for Tua to be concussed to convince him to watch it. Do I have that right? Like, oh, here we go. I got him now.
It was stream of consciousness. Randomly came up in a conversation. I probably dropped a weird quote. And whether or not it influenced his opinion on the movie, that's for him to tell us.
Yes,
but yeah, I mean, I tried to show it realistically. I just tried to show it the night before every game, and it just fell on deaf ears.
That's your pump up movie for everybody.
Yeah.
Have you tried
to get
Buffalo? Have you tried to convince Vic Fangio to watch it? I'm sure he'd love it.
No, I mean, all Vic does is bring it up. Like without me, just I'm not even offering anything up. He's just like, hey man,
MacGruber.
So when's the last time you've seen MacGruber? Because I get a special cut. No, it's not quite the audience that I'd shoot for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so. That's got to be. I mean, Vic Fangio is an incredible defensive coordinator. Have you had like dinner with him? Do you guys have a lot in common other than football?
Dude, it is outstanding. I I very much love just I think it's so cool how there are things that we have a lot in common with. There's a lot in common just how we look at the game. And then there's things like our personalities and our default mechanisms are way different.
Yeah.
Which to me, I don't want if I had a bunch of Mike McDaniels running around here, people would figure out that it's not that cool. You know? So like I think that balance serves great purpose. But the bottom line is I think he's as good as it gets as football coaches
Agreed.
in the National Football League. So I mean, I'm still fired up that I tricked him to come here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna be weird after all these years with Denver and with Chicago, seeing him in like a super warm climate all the time.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really strange.
You're going back to the Aqua thing, weren't you?
Yeah, no, but he probably hates it.
He's got that
like,
big Gore-Tex jacket that he's had basically sewn on his body for the last 10 years.
Yeah, but then all of a sudden Vic Fangio with Mike McDaniel, now he's buying aqua-colored cars.
Yeah.
I didn't know that because it's not true.
I have another Miami
awesome.
related question for you because you've been seen courtside with all the big celebs down in South Beach at the Heat games. Now they're playing against the Nuggets in the finals. You're a Denver boy. Who are you rooting for in the finals?
Ooh.
No, this is easy. I feel great about it. It's they're my two favorite teams in basketball. It's really, you become a professional football coach and you kind of like I could care less about the Broncos after I stopped working for them because it's the business you're in, right? But I always stayed true and followed the Nuggets and had my heart break in the bubble when Jamal Murray went down, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't lose any sleep whatsoever to pledge my allegiance to the Miami Heat because I had the fortune of having the Miami Heat coaches to training camp last year and spent way more time than they needed to give me talking with all of them and just hearing their problems of that off season that they were trying to solve that in their opinion they had a lot of good players and their biggest problem was trying to involve everyone because they were so deep and while trying to develop them. And this was very different from the narrative that I heard from the rest of America. It was like, yeah, there's one star and what are these guys' names? So I've been paying attention all year. And then, I've been fortunate enough to have tickets thrown my way. And you better believe I jumped on that. That's added to the whole deal, but I feel very personally invested into their whole movement. Because even beyond that, it speaks so much to what, I believe in team sports. The team playing in the finals was last in the league in scoring. That team was negative point differential for the NBA regular season. It's the first time that a team that had negative point differential ended up in the final since, you guys remember, Minneapolis Lakers 1959.
Yeah, of course.
Like,
don't forget.
The stuff that they're overcoming, the injuries that they've persevered through, and really the way they approach coaching and the whole program in general, getting firsthand exposure. I'm too deep, man. Too deep.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Turn your back on Denver. That's fine.
Good. Regardless, it's good ball. And, it's not that heartbreaking to be like, yeah, I want the Heat to win. The Nuggets have never been in the finals, accomplished a lot this season. Jokic's not going anywhere. Not going to lose any sleep.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. That's fine.
Can I point you guys? Huh?
Yeah. Can I give you one piece of advice in coaching? Now, I've never told this to any other coach. I've been waiting for you to come on the show.
Well, this is gonna be good.
Because I've got a wrinkle that I think could revolutionize offensive football. And
All right.
so I come from a rugby background. I played rugby in college. I played for about 10 years in men's league afterwards.
Whoa.
And
dude,
yeah, pretty sick brag.
a lot of rugby.
A lot of rugby. I wasn't very good, but I picked up enough about the sport to realize that if an NFL coach incorporates designed downfield laterals more frequently, they have the opportunity to break out big chunk plays on a basis that I think the risk outweighs the reward if it's coached correctly and if it's taught correctly with the right technique of going into contact and then pitching backwards to a guy that you know is going to be there. Now, I waited to tell this to you and you only because I think that you are the mind that could actually get this done in the NFL. And I'm telling you, the sky is the limit if you could figure out a way to do this like maybe three times a game, 2-3 times a game. That's really all it would take to have those make a difference.
Well, see, the best part of the whole scenario is there are some people that have simultaneously developed the same thought. It has worked its way into the league. There's a couple teams that I've seen do it this past season, but strike that from the record because this is the first conversation that's ever been had about it.
Mm-hmm.
So when we copy other teams, I would love the credit.
Yeah.
Okay.
You get it.
You get it. And I get the credit
But it's
too.
out there. What you're saying is not that outside the box. You just have to have the right known scenario. And you know what? You have to have a receiver with a lot of composure and ball skills to be able to, but there's some traction. The way teams pursue and compress tackle in the league, you'll get people to overplay and we tried it once against the Chargers. We pretended to unintentionally fumble, and Tyreek just picked it up and took it to the house.
Yeah, that was
smart. A ground lateral, as they call it.
Same thing. Yeah, and you'll look like a genius if you start working this into the offense.
And then you guys will pump that narrative.
Yep.
And I know how big your guys' audience is, so
and then watch this. Watch this. After you start doing that, then teams they stop over pursuing and they spread out too much, and then boom, that's a one break tackle away from taking it to the house without even pitching it.
Now normal ball is explosive and unguardable.
Yeah.
I see what you're doing there.
Yeah. I got a couple last questions. The first one, I don't know if you've been asked this before, but were you vaping on the sideline in Buffalo?
What?
You were vaping on the sideline.
Vaping?
There was a clip of you. You went
like water vape?
You went with your hand to your mouth, and it looked like you were vaping. Were you vaping?
I mean, what a confusing question. I don't know this technology you guys speak of. Having said that, I will leave you with this. In past lives, I have vaped.
Okay.
The idea of, regardless, just the idea of that being something that people are talking about after a playoff game is annoying enough to provoke me to never do it again, and I've since quit. Classic McDaniel style. Classic McDaniel style, cold turkey, just like alcohol. So, but as far as a game, I'm sorry. I wish I was better schooled on the subject. I just don't totally know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah, it's crazy people would even assume that. All right, so I had one last question. It's a Roback question. RHOBACK.com. Use code TAKE for 20% off your first purchase. Q-zips, polos, hoodies, joggers, shorts. Roback.com. Promo code TAKE. 20% off your first purchase. Last year, and this is also, I'll admit, I've been emotionally damaged by the Chicago Bears, but I think I said before the season that you were giving me Mark Trestman vibes, and I was like, it's good when it's good, and then if it starts to go bad, will guys still listen? You had a season where you proved that like you can do it. You went through the ups and downs. You went through some losing streaks. When you were going through that losing streak, did you have at any point like a mini crisis of confidence? Like, shit, this is different than when I'm the head guy here.
Well, first of all, the whole reason we were in the losing streak was because I heard those comments, and there's only one way to prove that I'm not.
Yeah. Little adversity, self-inflicted adversity.
Yeah. So Really, that was so here's the thing I know about coaching in the National Football League. Uh, you won't always win. And when you don't, it's very, very black and white. You lose, you suck. You win, you're awesome. Okay. So one of the biggest, I don't know, things that I was looking forward to, ironically, was I knew that is something that happens every year to multiple teams, and you go one or two directions. So I looked at that as like this is this isn't negative. This is actually when people need a coach.
Yeah.
Like this is the most important time. This is when you are actually most doing your job. So I was very, very motivated. It's not necessarily fun. But to say that I didn't, it was when, not if. Like that is something that I think people have this misnomer in expectations of, whether you're in professional sports, you're a football coach or just a regular average Joe, as it were. Like these expectations of avoiding adversities is what it can be catastrophic because adversity will happen.
Yeah.
So get your mind around that. There will be losing streaks, and the competitor in me, the flame was lit in that. That's a hard thing to do, is to pull yourself out of it. Would have liked to pull ourselves out of it quicker. Circumstances didn't allow it, but to me, I see those hard moments is when I'm earning my check.
Yeah, it's a good answer, and it's why I changed my tune. I was like, look, because it worked the first couple of months, and then you hit that rut, and you guys still got to the playoffs and righted the ship.
It will always be the case, and I'll never be surprised by it. It's been right there in front of me in my entire career. No one's going to give me anything. No one's going to, I have to earn it. And what other way would I want to? So it was going to be, can he lead a team? Can he stand up in front of the room? Then after that, it's going to be, okay, well, he can get him to play hard. Can he win football games? Then it's going to be, all right, can he pull people out of losing streaks? Then it's going to be, can he do anything in the playoffs? Then it's going to be,
will he stop vaping? Yeah.
It's going to be It's going to be retroactive, not proactive, and that doesn't bother me. I understand that. Like this just in. If you approach things in sort of a different manner, there's no other. I wouldn't expect it to be any other way.
Yeah.
So have to prove myself to earn your faith, and what way would I want it?
He kind of like took every Monday episode of Pardon My Take with when you win, you're awesome. When you lose, you suck. Because that's pretty much our analysis. That's our analysis.
Yeah, that's not an indictment. Here's the thing:
you cannot win and lose at the same time. Trent Dilfer said that.
Yeah, that's true. That's facts in the National Football League.
Bam. So there's a lot of people that are heavily invested. I know this when I watch sports, and the only time I'm nervous in sports is when it's another sport and I care about the outcome. Okay. It is gut-wrenching to invest emotionally into something, have no control over it, and that motivates and elicits emotion. There's also a lot of economic factors. This is a huge business, and there's fantasy football galore. There's so many people, and so I take it as like people care.
Yeah.
So they're going to be happy, and there's too many compounding variables. So, I probably get too much credit when we win. And, I'm going to get, called into question. But I don't look at the job as like I'm entitled to people just, just believe in me. It's a result business, and people want you around if you're getting the results they want, and it doesn't bother me at all. It's very, I don't know. I can understand it, and wouldn't expect anything less.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's got to be a very strange part about being a coach is you try to tune everything out, but you can't listen to the radio because there's going to be someone talking about you at the radio. You can't open up a newspaper because someone's going to be talking about you in the newspaper or on any of your favorite websites. Are you able to actually like tune everything out, or does some of that, if it's criticism, if it's praise, is it inevitable in this day and age that any coach is going to be absorbing some kind of his press clippings?
No, I think it's when, for example, if we lose a game, I already know. So I know exactly what's coming. I don't know the details, but there's people that are employed to do that. And so, when I'm, getting ready for a press conference, I'm made aware of certain things that will probably come up, and a lot of that can be negative. But like, I've always recognized that as an issue, and this just in, like, I spent my whole career preparing to be able to do the job of a head coach, not becoming a head coach. In that process, you have to kind of problem solve that. And like, whoa, this is hard. There's countless times that I've seen really good coaches get unnecessarily blasted for results that they only have part control in. But that's kind of what you're paid to do. Somebody's got to be held accountable for things. The managed expectations, I think I'm very comfortable with what to expect. The pattern is like crystal clear.
Yeah.
Like literally, it is like I've been on teams. I mean, shoot, in 2001, it might have been in San Francisco, might have been one of the best coaching jobs that I've seen anyone do that Kyle Shanahan did. Okay. He was getting blasted. People were begging for his job at week 5 or whenever we were like week 7, we were like 2-5 or something. Can't remember. So that why? Because there's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of variables that are compounding, and the only thing that you can directly attribute a lot of times is the actual outcome.
Yeah, so, this is all it's very smart things that you're saying. And you're convincing me right now that you definitely have a fire burner account on Twitter.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're getting some takes off, like because you're handling it all very emotionally healthily, I think. But you got to get those takes off.
No, I definitely don't have a Twitter account, but my wife definitely does.
Oh, nice. She gets him off.
So when things either way get really over the top, she tries not to say something to me, but she just wears it on her sleeve because she cares so much. And I think it's the weirdest. It's got to be such a tough position for her.
Yeah. Because
she in her mind's building me up, and then all of a sudden, people are, I'm not sure if you guys paid attention to the news, but there was on several occasions, people gave it to me last year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm very comfortable with that. That's part of the responsibility of the job. And you don't get to have your cake and eat it too. It's a really cool job. There has to be some give, and that's one of them. But for loved ones and stuff, that's where it's toughest because they have no control over it. And a lot of people, it's really weird too. I went 0 to 60. I was under the radar in the NFL for 15 years. No one talked about me. And then all of a sudden, all sorts of people have opinions. It's a transition. But I think you have to be prepared for that going into the job. Because I am ambitious and I have high expectations, but I was pretty sure I was going to break Don Shula's record year 1.
All right. So we'll leave you with this. It sounds like you need a free subscription. You and your wife. We're going to give you 2 free subscriptions to Pardon My Take. You can get it on your phone, free subscription. And
Free?
here's
for,
what. Yeah.
For the first 2 months?
No, free, lifetime guarantee, free.
Lifetime.
Yes, and here's what we're gonna do for you, and more for your wife. Whenever you guys lose, we will make sure to say at least one nice thing about Mike McDaniel.
That's all she needs.
Yeah, we will say all the mean stuff, but we'll also add in one nice thing.
Guess what? You guys are employed to have opinions, and in an indirect way, you guys are part of my paycheck.
Yep.
And
don't forget that. Don't forget that.
No, it's something that. So it really, when you say disparaging things about my character and my personality, I'll just let it roll right off. It's part of the deal. I know it's coming. We'll just
add one nice thing.
Say to me, hey, don't lose then.
Yeah.
Then you don't have to
We're also never wrong with our analysis.
Yeah,
either.
that's right. We've never been wrong.
Why would you say
McDaniel should have run the damn ball.
Yeah.
That's what we say. And
Yeah.
we're right.
No, sometimes I do get confused. I do need reminders. Do the plays that work.
Yeah. Run the touchdown play.
Tyreek fast.
Yes.
Boom.
Listen, run the touchdown play is undefeated.
Shots. Pew, 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 pew.
Dude, I was just saying the same thing. And score more points than the opponent.
Yep. It's pretty simple.
Not rocket science.
Yeah. Run the ball. Stop the run. Heat up the quarterback. We know ball.
Run the jewels. Juuls.
Yeah, I forgot the rappers' names. No, I'm just a big Mike guy.
Yeah.
Okay?
You are a big Mike.
Killer Mike.
Killer Mike. There it is. See, I'm getting old. That's the band. Run the Jewels.
Yep.
Wait, you can't say you're getting old.
Killer Mike and LP, right?
That's right.
Do you have any?
That's what we're talking about, right?
You're the same age as us. Don't say you're getting old.
Well, see, everyone's getting older, my friends.
Not me.
Shit.
I mean, I lie about my age progressively younger every year. I'm 26 now.
Yeah.
Oh, you get ID'd at bars?
All the time, yeah. You're like, ma'am, I'm going to need to see a picture.
All right, well.
And how dare you wear that?
Yeah. Coach, thank you. It had been a long time coming. We really appreciate you coming on. And hopefully you're a recurring guest now, so whenever we ask you to come on, you have to come on. That's by contract. But you did get 2 free subscriptions as part of my take, so we're good.
Well worth it. No, it was honestly awesome. You guys do a tremendous job, have carved out a really cool fixture in a market that what didn't really exist. You guys kind of kicked the door in. So I'm very appreciative of your patience and your understanding of my terrible phone manners.
Yeah, I just texted you just now. I said don't ignore our text. So now you have our numbers.
I just text back, new number, who dis?
Lose my number.
Lose my
Aaron
number.
Rodgers.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks so much, Coach.